What is going on, guys? It's ThePowerBauer 2 here. Netflix recently announced that Avatar: The Last Airbender will be receiving a live-action remake, and I don't know if you can tell, but I am so excited. They were bringing the original show creators back, which is such a good thing because I don't want M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong anywhere near this damn show. Avatar was my favorite show growing up, and I'm sure many of you will agree with me that it might be the greatest animated show of all time. And just as every other popular thing seems to, there were some video games that followed this. And today, we're going to be looking at those video games to see how fun they are and just how faithfully true they stay to the show's story. A little backstory is probably necessary in case you have never watched the show, but if you haven't, you really should. It's amazing. But the short version is, there are 4 types of bending: water, earth, fire, and air. Each allows you to move the element and it has its own style. Now for the story. The Fire Nation has attacked the rest of the world and is on the verge of winning the war. Katara and Sokka find Aang frozen in an iceberg at the Southern Water Tribe. They learn that he is the Avatar, the only person that's able to bend all 4 elements. They quickly learn that there is a comet coming at the end of the summer where the Fire Lord intends on winning the war as all the Firebenders' powers will be increased. So Aang has to master all 4 elements before the comet arrives so he can defeat the Fire Lord and bring peace to the world. There is a lot more than that, but that is the short basic version. The first game we're going to be looking at is called Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yeah, you probably expected it to be called that. The game starts off with Aang, Sokka, and Katara at the North Pole where Aang is learning to bend water. You quickly learn that a waterbender named Hiryu or something like that has gone missing and they send Aang to go investigate. This allows you to learn the basic controls, which I really like a lot. The normal attacks are done just by hitting the A button, but you have special attacks by using the trigger and then attacking. Obviously, all of Aang's attacks are based around airbending as he's a damn airbender. What I really like is that you actually have to unlock your abilities and don't just start off super OP with tons of different powers. You gain experience by defeating enemies and completing different tasks, which allows you to unlock these special abilities. You can even choose what attacks you want by assigning different points to different attacks. It's pretty in-depth for a simplified game like this, if I'm being honest. After you turn from trying to track down the missing waterbender, the Water Tribe is attacked by the Fire Nation and the emo prince, Zuko. The Firebenders and warriors are much more difficult than any enemy you have faced up to this point. The game just throws you into a massive battle and just like, here you go. You drive off the Firebenders, but before they leave, Zuko's like, "F you," and takes Katara. That sucks, but what doesn't suck is now you can play as Sokka. God, my segues are the best. Sokka has very different attacks from Aang as he's not a bender. His attacks all revolve around his sword or club thing and his trusty boomerang. He even has an attack that increases how strong his moves are. The variety that they gave to these characters really surprises me to this day. Aang and Sokka retreat to Appa to follow the Fire Nation, but before they can leave, they encounter this giant machine. Unlike the actual show, there are a lot more machines, some of which have bending abilities like this one, and the story kind of revolves around this. Every level in this game has a boss just like the machine here, and it actually can get pretty difficult later on. Not this one though. God, this is easy. Aang and Sokka follow the Fire Nation to an Earth Kingdom port. Here you're introduced to a new ability which allows you to turn invisible and walk past the guards. Imagine if they could do this in the show. It would make everything so much easier, but maybe more boring too, and the story would probably be a lot shorter. You need to head to the soldier barracks to steal some Fire Nation uniforms which somehow make you blend in with the Fire Nation. How? Aang has a fucking arrow on his head. How can't they see it? These uniforms allow you to sneak into the Fire Nation prison where Katara is being held, but you can't save her before beating up the nerds whose uniforms you stole. Katara is being held near the very bottom of the prison, and once you obtain the key, you can save her and she is added to your team. Now Katara? Oh, Katara. That sounded a lot creepier than I intended. Her moves are all based around waterbending and healing. She is the classic support or medic team member that every good team needs to have. She can either heal one person completely or the whole team just a little bit. Some medics can't fend for themselves, but Katara is not like that at all. She can freeze enemies and she is one of my favorites to use. You enter the jailer's room where you encounter Leon the Maker. She has been forced to make all the machines for the Fire Nation that you've been seeing throughout the game. The jailer then wakes up from his meditation, I guess, and he's the second boss. And oh my god, I hated this boss when I was a kid. For some reason, I couldn't comprehend getting away from him when he's attacking. So I would just continuously just run into him and attack him, and then I would just get bodied by him. I know, I'm stupid. Once you win, Leon's cell is empty, but there is a map to an Earth Kingdom village. The gang arrives at the village, but it's under attack by machines. Who would have guessed? After you fend off the machines, you gain your final team member in Haru? Interesting choice? Well, since this game is meant to take place during book 1 of the series, it makes sense that Toph wouldn't be the final team member as they don't actually meet her until book 2. And I guess Haru was the only real Earthbender that they sort of made any friendship with besides Boomy, but I mean, he wouldn't really make sense, although I would love to play as Boomy. Haru has some slower but way more powerful attacks. I don't love his attack style personally, but for those of you who like playing as someone like Ganondorf in Smash Bros, he might actually fit your playstyle. Haru says that one of his friends was kidnapped, so they decide to travel to the library in Omashu to search for clues where any of the machines might be originating from. And going to Omashu only means one thing. No, not him! Oh, my cabbages! Yeah. In the library, they find a map that appears to have nothing on it. When they try to return to Boomy, the Fire Nation attacks. Of course. What's really cool is that Aang, Katara, and Sokka all go up ahead and Haru stays behind. You then only get to play as Haru as you attempt to make your way back to Boomy, and I honestly think this might be my favorite part of the game. I know I said I don't love his playstyle, but taking away your favorite character and forcing you to use your least favorite is something I actually like. I love the challenge, and it made me respect Haru's moveset much more. Once you arrive at Boomy, he tells you that there's an uncharted island that's not in the map that you recovered in the library. Well, that's kind of redundant, but whatever. The uncharted island is a pretty simple area. There are a lot of side quests you can do, but the main story is basically just a straight shot. You will quickly find Lian, but she's making more machines. What the hell? I thought you were on our side. She says Aang sucks and can't master all 4 elements before Sozin's comment. Thanks, and offers to help him with their machines. Aang refuses, God, he's dumb, which prompts Lian to send a giant machine at them. Honestly, for how scary and intimidating this thing looks, it's pretty easy. Lian flees to the air temple to destroy the avatar statues because I guess she just decided to become a dick after we refused her help. Aang follows her, which then leads to another split up sequence where you can just play as Aang or the other 3 together. Aang saves the air temple, but while he's doing that, Katara, Sokka, and Haru go looking around the temple, but then they are kidnapped. How has Katara been kidnapped twice in this game already? She's one of the most badass and my favorite characters in the show. When you arrive as Aang, oh look, another giant machine boss. Aang follows Lian to this weird dark area. When I was younger, I thought this was some sort of weird underground bunker or city, and to this day, I'm honestly still not sure what the hell it is. You find a fortress where the other 3 characters are being held hostage. Sokka's prison just looks uncomfortable. Haru's looks the best, honestly, and Katara's... Jesus Christ! Why does this game just hate Katara? After you save all of your friends, you continue to make your way through the fortress until we see Zuko. For some weird reason, Aang and Haru decide to help him until... How could you not see that coming? Aang saves him from falling using the power of jump cuts to catch him, but Zuko refuses to be saved by him and he falls into the water. I'm sure we will see him again. Oh, the 4 reach the end of the fortress where they find Lian finishing up a machine being manned by the missing waterbender from the beginning of the game, Haru's friend, and this fucking guy. Seriously, who the hell is that? Lian tries to add Aang to the machine, but you battle until...
Katara!
You have no idea what you just did. Aang enters the Avatar state and oh man, is this fun. You get to battle this giant machine as the most overpowered fighter in the whole game. It feels so good to play as Aang in the Avatar state because we all saw how powerful he was in the show. And when I got this game, I wanted to feel that power. It feels great, but if I'm being honest, it doesn't really give off the full feeling of the Avatar state. Remember when he turned into a giant fucking fish god? Why couldn't we have done that? But it's still a lot of fun. Once you defeat the Ultimaton, or however you pronounce it, it falls and buries Lian into the rubble. Kinda dark for a game like this. But don't worry, she survives in the handheld version. The 4 leave the fortress as we have now saved the world. Oh hey, I told you we'd see Zuko again. Now this game obviously wasn't made with the intention on being a bestseller, that much is clear. But man, is it a fun game. I definitely wouldn't pay a full $60 retail price for a game like this like I would for newer games, but it's definitely worth your time if you can find it at a reasonable price. The fighting isn't the most advanced, but it feels pretty smooth and all the different bending abilities can fit anyone's style. Plus, there's so much to do than just the normal story. There are loads of side quests in each level that can take you hours to complete. Sure, you could speed through this game really quickly, but there is so much more to do. If you are an Avatar fan and want a good game, this is probably your best option. This game is great, and I played the shit out of it as a kid. But it's not the only Avatar game. There were actually 2 more released, and the first one is titled The Burning Earth. This game is way more so based on the actual show than the first game. Each of the chapters is named after a chapter from the show, and it takes place during Book 2. The playable characters in this game are almost the same, but there is one major change. We of course still have Aang. I mean, the game's called Avatar. I mean, we kinda need to have the Avatar. As well as Sokka and Katara. Haru is no longer playable, however. Thank God. Every time I think about him, it just makes me think of Book 3 with his goatee, and I still don't know how I feel about it. Instead, since this game is based off Book 2, the 4th playable character is none other than the blind bandit herself, Toph. Toph was also one of the best characters in the entire show and such a fan favorite member of the Avatar squad, so it feels so good to finally play as her. Although I kinda wish they would have somehow implemented a way to truly experience how she would fight since obviously she's blind. I have no idea how that could have even possibly been implemented, but it's just a small wish of mine. The art style and graphics of this game are slightly different from the first game. I definitely believe the quality of the game has improved and everything looks cleaner and smoother, but I have mixed feelings about the art style. I'm not gonna say that the art style of the first game is phenomenal. It wasn't, but I think I prefer the art style of the first game actually. My issues don't really come from the gameplay. I think it looks about the same to me. My problems come with the cutscenes. The first game's cutscenes seem better animated to me and they actually put time and care into them. While in this game, something just looks off. Obviously this game isn't gonna have the quality of a game like Halo from its time, but at least make their mouths move or something. Actually, with how this animation looks, I don't know if I want their mouths to move. Again, this game is pretty dang short. I wouldn't expect a long game for this, but why could they at least make the game and reach the end of the book? The story ends basically right when the gang gets to Ba Sing Se, the capital of the Earth Kingdom, for those who don't know. And if you've watched the show, you know there is so much more to the story after that. The final chapter of the game is the Drill, which is a pretty big and epic episode of the show. But imagine if we could have played the end of the book with Crossroads of Destiny! The battle that Aang and Katara have against Azula and Zuko after he stabs his uncle in the back is one of the best endings to any of the books. And the twist with Zuko going back to his evil ways even when it seemed like he was about to come to the good side is such a good twist. And it's probably my favorite episode in the entire show. Maybe I'm asking too much, but I honestly don't think I am. There's only 7 chapters in this game. There are 20 in the show! They could have at least made it to 10 chapters to add everything that happens in Ba Sing Se. And you know what the worst part is? The third game takes place right after the fight in Crossroads of Destiny. Yes, the third and final game is called Avatar Into the Inferno. That's actually the title of one of the episodes in the series finale, but I definitely think it works as the overall title for Book 3. Like I said, we start off with a cutscene showing what happened at the end of Book 2. I mean, I wish we could have played it, but whatever. Oh yeah, I guess spoilers before I talk about this, but I guess if you made it this far in the video, I highly doubt that you care about spoilers. Aang goes all Super Saiyan Avatar state to defeat everyone and save Katara. But he is struck by lightning because Azula actually does her job and isn't just staring at him like everyone else. Like seriously, what the f are they actually doing? Katara brings him back using her spirit water and it's now time for Book 3. Aang wakes up and whoa, look at that hair. Even after like 10 years, I still don't know how I feel about Aang with hair. Just as the last game did, it feels like they improved the gameplay again. I am playing on the Wii and most of the bending attacks are done by using the Wii remote and I think it works pretty well. There are so many games that rely on motion controls that don't work super well, which makes me impressed that a game like this can function so well. You move around on the overworld by riding Appa, which makes perfect sense. And I love that they actually use the art of the world from the show. It's such a simple overworld, but it works so well, and I love it. The playable characters are the same as the Burning Earth, but a little bit into the game, we get access to Two-Face himself. Using Zuko, we can finally Firebend, which hasn't been possible in any game up to this point. We still can't Lightning Bend though. God, Zuko, get your act together. I definitely feel like the art style in this game is better than the second one, but I honestly still prefer the first game. I don't know, but it just seems lower quality to me. But to be fair, at least they got the mouths to move in the cutscenes. The game is pretty short, but they made sure that you got to play all the best parts. We get to do the invasion on the solar eclipse, infiltrate the boiling rock, and of course the final huge battle during Sozin's Comet. But for some reason, you battle Ozai as Aang and Katara? It's weird to see Katara in this battle, but I'm not gonna argue because anytime I can play as Katara, I'm gonna. Aang takes away the Fire Lord's bending and they throw him in jail on the cliff. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. The game ends with just a happy cutscene with everyone, but god damn it, just kiss already! These 3 games aren't the greatest games in the world, but for what they are pretty solid. Avatar is one of the most popular and expansive animated series of all time, and I'm sure we have all wanted to play through the world at some point. And these games definitely do that experience justice. The games all run very well with pretty good gameplay and controls, although I will always question Burning Earth's cutscenes. Burning Earth and Into the Inferno definitely stay more true to the story of the show, but the original game has an original story, which makes me kinda like it more. If I had to rank the games, I would probably say the original is best, then Into the Inferno, and then lastly Burning Earth. Now I'm not saying Burning Earth is a bad game, but compared to the other 2, it's definitely the worst of the 3, but it's still a lot of fun. Although I wish they could have just made one big game based on the entire show story that just has every different chapter as a different level in the game. That would have been fun. I doubt it would ever happen, but with the new Netflix series that's coming out, I'm gonna at least hold on to my hope. And speaking of that Netflix Avatar series, I just want to say I'm really excited, but honestly, I don't know why they're doing it. Why are they remaking the same story again? Why couldn't they put this funding towards making an entirely new series based on the Avatar that would be after Korra in the Earth Nation? We don't need a retelling of the first story because the first story was already perfect. But I guess they are bringing back the original Kratos, so I mean it can't be as bad as the movie. There is no movie within the walls. Here we are safe. Here we are free. Oh, hi. What were we doing again?